I always walked the same route, home 8 minutes, 4 turns, 2 streetlights. But the night I saw the man in the orange vest, something was ... off. Asterisk, it was a Friday in late November. The kind of cold that makes your breath feel heavy. I stayed late at work in Vintoriata Tand. By the time I left, the office park was nearly empty. The usual crowd of commuters had long since thinned out, and only a few distant taillights flickered down the main road as I zipped up my coat and started walking. Asterisk, there's this quiet stretch of sidewalk. I have to cross a narrow 2-lane road flanked by fenced-in lots and darkened warehouses. No cameras, no foot traffic, no real reason for anyone to be out there at that hour. Just a place you pass through, fast and with your head down. Asterisk, about halfway down that street. Saw him. Asterisk, he stood under the second streetlight, facing the road. He wore an orange safety vest and held a clipboard, like some late-night city worker. But he wasn't doing anything. Just standing, perfectly still. His head slowly turned as I approached. Our eyes locked. Asterisk, I gave a polite nod, the kind of instinctual gesture you give a stranger in passing, but he didn't return it. His eyes tracked me, not aggressively, not warmly, just mechanically watching. And I remember thinking, there's no construction around here. I walked faster. Behind me, I heard it. A single, deliberate footstep. Then another. I didn't look back. Not yet. Asterisk, my hand instinctively went to my pocket where my phone was. I didn't pull it out. Something told me not to draw attention. The footsteps matched my pace, always just far enough behind to stay invisible. At the end of the block, I finally turned around. No one. Asterisk, the street was empty. The man, the footsteps, they were just gone. Asterisk, I remember scanning the area for any open doors, any parked cars, any sign that someone had just been there. Nothing, just wind and concrete. Asterisk, I got home, locked the door behind me, and spent the rest of the night convincing myself it was just a weird guy. Maybe a utility worker, maybe a prankster. Weird, sure, but harmless. The next night I left work a little earlier just to be safe. And yet there he was again. Same spot, same orange vest, same clipboard. But this time he wasn't facing the road. He was facing me. I stopped walking. He didn't move. Asterisk, there was no one else around. I stood there, just far enough away that I couldn't make out his face clearly. But I knew he was staring. The kind of stare you feel, even through the fog of your breath and the haze of the streetlight. Asterisk, I turned back toward the office. Asterisk, that was the first time. I called for a ride home. My boss found it funny, said I was being paranoid. Probably. Some city worker pulling double shifts, he joked. But I knew something wasn't right. I didn't see him again for nearly a week. And just when I thought I'd imagined the whole thing, it changed. I was walking back home again, trying to regain a sense of normalcy. The man was gone, and I passed his usual corner without incident. No clipboard, no orange vest. Just an empty sidewalk. Asterisk. But as I neared my apartment complex, literally a minute from my door, saw something lying in the gutter. It was a crumpled orange safety vest. I froze. Looked worn, old, maybe even stained. No clipboard, no man, just the vest, like a piece of discarded skin. I stepped closer, not sure why. Curiosity, maybe. That's when I noticed the handwriting. On the inside lining, barely visible in the streetlight, were 4 words written in sharp black ink. Asterisk, I never worked here. I backed away, fast. That night I triple-locked my door, pulled my blinds, slept with the light on. But it didn't matter, because the next morning, when I opened my door to leave for work, there was a clipboard leaning against the frame. My name was written at the top of the form, asterisk below it. Checklist, 3 boxes. Asterisk. The first 2 were marked. The third was still blank. Horror story for narration in the style of Mr. Nightmare Lazy Masquerade. Asterisk premise. Creepy true stories about neighbors who were hiding something, asterisk narrated in first person, asterisk. 850 words. I never thought much about the house next door. Asterisk. It wasn't abandoned or anything. It just felt low. Asterisk. I moved into that neighborhood in late 2020. A quiet cul-de-sac just outside Spokane. Nice enough homes. Mostly retired couples or families. I was 32 at the time, working remotely, and just wanted peace. The house to the left of mine, number 812, was always closed up, curtains drawn, lights off most nights. The grass was patchy. The mailbox always empty, but I knew someone lived there. Sometimes I'd hear creaking from inside. A TV faintly flickering after midnight, or the front porch light clicking on and off at odd hours. No one ever came out, not to walk the dog, not to take out the trash, nothing. And yet, that porch light still worked. Asterisk. I asked around. My neighbor across the street, older woman named Deb, said his name was Mr. Lotman. Lived alone, retired, bit of a hermit. She said, keeps to himself. Lost his wife a long time ago. Asterisk. I figured that explained it. Until one night, something strange happened. Asterisk. It was 2:17 a.m., and I was up working in my home office. That room faced his side of the house. I happened to glance out the window and saw movement behind his curtain. A silhouette. It wasn't just someone standing. It looked like they were pacing. Back and forth, slow, deliberate steps. Asterisk. It wasn't threatening, just strange. Then the lights turned off, instantly, like someone knew they were being watched. I didn't sleep well. That night. Asterisk. A week passed. Then two. Asterisk. One evening, I came home from grocery shopping and noticed something on his driveway. A large, dark stain. Like motor oil, but thicker, stickier. And it hadn't been there before. Asterisk. Out of curiosity, I knocked on his door. I didn't expect an answer, but I got one. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Asterisk. Then the sound stopped. Behind the door. I waited. No greeting, no reply. Just the sound of someone breathing. I stood frozen. Then I heard the deadbolt slowly engage. Click. I stepped back. Tried to brush it off. Asterisk. Maybe he was just old, or paranoid, or both. Asterisk. But that night, I kept thinking about the stain on the driveway. The footsteps behind the door. The fact that no one had seen this man in years. Asterisk. So I did something I probably shouldn't have. Asterisk. I installed a motion sensor camera facing the side of his house, just for peace of mind. 3 nights later, I got the alert. Asterisk. Motion detected at 3:12 a.m. I opened the footage. Felt my stomach drop. Asterisk. A man was standing in the side yard between our houses. But it wasn't just that he was out there, it was the way he was facing. Asterisk. He was staring directly into my office window. His face was hard to make out, balding, pale, maybe in his 60s. But his eyes, those were visible, wide open, unblinking. Watching the footage was less than 10 seconds long. When I stepped outside gripping a bat, there was no one there. No footprints. No sound. I turned the footage over to the police. They ran a wellness check on Mr. Lotman. Said he answered the door. Looked confused, but fine. Said he hadn't left the house in weeks. Asterisk. They told me to remove the camera. Said I was violating his privacy. Asterisk. But 2 days later, the truth unraveled. Asterisk. Deb, the woman across the street, called me in a panic. Said there were cops swarming 812 crime scene tape. Officers in hazmat suits. I walked outside just in time to see a stretcher being wheeled out. Only, the body on the stretcher looked mummified, skin like parchment, or white and brittle. It was a woman. A few days later, the story came out. Asterisk. The real Mr. Lotman had died 5 years ago. Asterisk. Natural causes. No foul play. But no one ever reported it, because someone had been living in the house with him. His son, asterisk, a man in his 50s, suffering from untreated schizophrenia. When his father died, he never told anyone, just kept living there, alone, isolated, asterisk, and he kept his father's body, preserved it, moved it from room to room, talked to it, ate dinner beside it, and then something changed. He started watching the neighbors. Asterisk. He started watching me. Asterisk. They found notebooks in the house, dozens of them, filled with writing. Asterisk, most were gibberish. But one stood out. It said, "The man next door knows." He saw